The one, the only, soaked in bleach from Austria. On Board Game Arena, this player has been Wingspan's ranked #1 in ELO for quite some time. Not just that, they're also a world-class player of Ark Nova, Ticket to Ride Europe, and Living Forest. We're gonna analyze a replay of an interesting game they played. As we break down their decisions, see if you play like them to elevate your skills to the next level. For game settings, this is base game with the 4 power birds and 10 swift start birds removed. Notably, everyone's very high ELO in this game, so it's going to be a super competitive match. We've got Soaked in Bleach from Austria up against Mursuka and, I don't know how to say this, Boholu from America. But we're just going to call them red and blue for this game. If you're not familiar with this interface, Board Game Arena shows you all the info like resources and cards in hand, bonus cards, all that here in the top right. It also keeps track of the points here. So right now it's 0 points, 0 points. And right now I've got a zoomed in view just to look at the starting hand and all the info like the round goals. But right after we keep our starting hand, I'm going to zoom all the way out, and that's going to be way easier to keep track of everything and just have all the info at once. We've got some cheap birds, which is nice. Forest birds, wetland birds. We've got photographer and historian for bonus cards. Probably would look to keep photographer here. And we've got 3 birds that are fulfilling that, which is great. And now also looking at the round goals. First round is total birds. Round 2 is eggs in wetland. Round 3 is birds with eggs in ground nests. And then round 4 is birds with eggs in cavity nests. And so with 2 of these egg types, we might be looking to find some star nest birds for some power for the last 2 round goals there. Notably, we are also the first player for this game, which means that we'll be able to start the game with our choice from the display. So that mallard is actually quite a strong bird to start off the game, allowing you to draw an extra card, and it's a ground nest to match the round 3 goal. So if you were soaked in bleach, what would you do in this situation? For me, I'd probably be looking to keep at least 3 of these birds. They're pretty cheap, pretty decent abilities. Definitely the red-bellied woodpecker. Let's see how they proceed. So soaked in bleach is going to keep 4, and you know, I'd normally consider that a bit greedy, but they're obviously a much better player than me, so let's see how their line of play proceeds. And let's have a quick look at the other players. So red chose to keep 2 birds with 3 food, and blue chose to keep 3 birds. So that's a bit more common and reasonable. And let's see how Soaked in Bleach takes their first turn. Okay, so they're going to lead by playing the red-bellied woodpecker. So I quite like this play, even though it's very tempting to draw the mallard here because it's a strong wetland bird with a nice ground nest for round 3 goal. However, there is only 1 seed in the bird feed right now. And in 3-player, I think for them, they really want to secure that seed from the bird feeder when they activate their red-bellied woodpecker ability to gain a seed from the bird feeder if it's available. And so getting that woodpecker down straight away is just going to really help with that. And so onto red, and for their first turn, they're going to play a bird out, the Forster's turn in the wetland. Nice star nest, great for the last 2 round goals, and really nice bird at the start of the game to help you look at more cards and just improve your card quality. And blue is also, oh no, they're going to draw the mallard from the tray here, signaling that they really like that cheap wetland bird with good ability. On to the second turn, and we are going to make sure we secure that seed from the bird feeder with the woodpecker's ability, and also taking a seed as well. Just want to highlight, you can see all this stuff in the game log here at the bottom right. And so like if I miss anything, if you want to watch out for what's happening, you can see it in the bottom right. And so over back to red. Red's going to lay 2 eggs here in the grassland, which is a really nice play in terms of opening up this spot here, the second spot in the wetland, allowing you to draw 1 card and also turn an egg into a card, which is very powerful in round 1 because that lay egg gives you 2 eggs, which is, you know, double 1 food or 1 card. So you're already generating pretty good value here. And blue's going to play that mallard in the wetland that they just drew. With another nice ability of their own to draw an extra card when they draw from the wetland. For us, we'll do the similar thing, laying 2 eggs, which is really going to open up that cerulean warbler, which costs a worm and a seed. Or the sandpiper can be played as well. Red's going to draw up some birds, so starting with 2 from the deck, and a 3rd one from the deck with their Forster's turn. And they'll move to discard wetland bird. Blue decides they want one food from the bird feeder, and they take up that cherry. And Soaked in Bleach will take the opportunity to spend all their food and draw up 2 bonus cards with the Cerulean Wobbler. And so looking at the options, we've got Bird Feeder, which is a pretty trash bonus card. Interestingly, they already have 2 out of 5 needed, but the Ecologist is going to be much stronger bonus card overall. It's going to give you 2 points for every column that you've filled with birds. And so you're going to look at least 4, maybe 6 points per game with that one. Red's going to play a really strong round 1 bird, the blue-grey gnatcatcher, giving a worm every time they take the food action. And blue's just going to lay eggs as well. Okay, over back to us. So we grab a fish from the bird feeder and then roll it up. And pretty lucky that there's another fish there for the black skimmer. And there also happens to be a seed there for the woodpecker. So I would rate this a very good start for Soaked in Bleach. Sometimes you play this woodpecker and you just get unlucky and you don't hit the seed. But it's really great that they're managing to hit it twice here. Red's going to play another cheap forest bird, white-breasted nuthatch. So now they have 2 pretty good forest birds here. And nice that this one also is a cavity nest for the round 4 goal. And this one will give 1 point every time they activate it. Blue's going to play Belted Kingfisher into their wetland. Awesome star nest bird with 4 egg capacity, which is really going to set them up well for all 3 of the last round goals, eggs in wetland and the ground nest cavity nest. And just a really strong bird from the start of round 1, because you know that other players are going to play some birds into that wetland. And so every time someone does, it'll give you a fish once per round. So really looking like a strong start for all the players here. For us, we're going to take a cherry from the bird feeder and then choose to reroll. And digging for that worm to play the spotted sandpiper, and we do find it. And then a bit of good luck. 3 times in a row now, we've been able to activate that red-bellied woodpecker's ability. So another free seed there. Red's going to grab a rat and a seed. And look at their strong forest engine going here. Yeah, it's a strong action, giving them a point and an extra worm every time they take 2 food. Blue's going to draw up birds here, so that's 2 from the deck. And then Mallard gets another bird, and they will take the Northern Mockingbird, which repeats a brown power in the same row. Back to us for the second last turn here, and we're going to play out the black skimmer, which we took the 2 fish for. It's got a pretty weak hunting ability, but yeah, looking to really pump out the birds for the first round goal of total birds. Red's going to lay 2 eggs here, and blue will play their 3rd bird, Californian Condor in the forests, which is going to let them draw 2 bonus cards and keep 1. So blue's going to discard Visionary Leader, very bad bonus card in general, one of the worst actually. And the final turn for round 1, we play out Spotted Sandpiper, bringing us up to 4 birds, taking the lead in the round goal here. We'll see if the other players are able to play a 4th bird too, and red is able to. They play Northern Harrier in their wetlands, a strong hunting ability with checking wingspan. And over to blue for their final turn. And they'll take a worm and a cherry from the bird feeder. And so us and red, we're going to tie up the first place, taking 2 points each, and blue taking 0 points there. And just want to make a note, if you're a bit newer to the game, this arrangement you see of 2 birds in the forest and 2 birds in the wetland is generally a pretty good way to start your games. You can see that red's done the same thing, 2 in the forest, 2 in the wetland. And even blue is kind of working towards that, 1 in the forest, 2 in the wetland. And the reason for that is that though that middle column where you can start to get 2 food or 2 birds is just a lot stronger, especially compared to the grassland ability, which already is giving you 2 at the start of the game. Just a reminder of the round goal, it's eggs in the wetland. And so for us, we've got 4 capacity in the wetland, same for red, 4 capacity. But blue is sitting at 8 egg capacity in the wetland. So they look like they're in a pretty good spot here for this round goal. And let's see how red proceeds with the start of this round. Do they want any of these birds in the tray? They'll start with 2 from the deck. They'll hunt 1 bird for another point. And then they decide to draw the burrowing owl, which is a star nest bird going in the grassland. Over to blue. And they'll also start by drawing 2 birds from the deck. And they'll draw up the Anna's hummingbird from the display, which is a great bird that can just go in any habitat, 1 food for 4 points, and can let all players take some food from the bird feeder. And for us, we will also start by drawing 2 birds from, and for us, we want 2 from the display. So Soaked in Bleach likes the look of this purple gallinule. Purple, obviously a color for a photographer. It would be the 4th one, allowing us to get those 3 points. And then we're going to activate the Spotted Sandpiper, which actually helps us draw a great chipping sparrow. So really nice we're able to draw this chipping sparrow, lay 1 egg on any bird, because now we can play it in the grassland, which would actually make the grassland decent, because currently the action is quite inefficient and weak. But as soon as we get that chipping sparrow in there, we can use one of the 2 seed we have to play it. Then suddenly we're getting 3 eggs instead of 2. Over to red, they've taken a rat from the bird feeder, and their second food is a seed. So getting a nice variety of foods here. 2 worms, 2 seeds, and a rat. And blue's going to, again, draw 2 birds from the wetland. They say, hey, my choice of 7 cards is not good enough. I need more. So they draw up 1 from the deck. They like the Barrow's Golden Eye from the tray. Very strong pink power that lets them lay an egg anytime another player takes the grassland action to lay eggs. And then the mallard will draw a 3rd from the deck. For us, we will take 2 worms from the bird feeder, and nice that there's seeds there, so we get an extra seed with the woodpecker ability. And red also does not like their choice of birds, so they're going to draw up another 2 from the deck. Successful hunt, and they're going to take Swainson's hawk from the tray, which is another grassland hunting bird. So it looks like they're quite keen on those hunting birds. Over to blue, taking some food, so worm and seed from the bird feeder and discarding a bird for that. Over to us, playing that chipping sparrow out, which is really going to help to contest this round goal of eggs in wetland. As soon as we're able to play out the purple gallinule, which currently we do have the food to be able to play. And red's also going to play a grassland bird that lays extra eggs, grasshopper sparrow. So very similar. It's almost like where red's mirroring our kind of our tableau here. Blue's going to play a bird. It's going to be the mountain bluebird in the grassland, which lets them play another bird. So they've been gathering all that food, and they're going to play the hummingbird in their grassland. So there's an interesting decision. It means that they can get food from the grassland. Not just them, but each player, if they choose to activate it. Each player gets 1 food from the bird feeder. Might mean that they're not really looking to build out their forest anymore. Back to us, and the egg laying begins. So 2 onto wetland, and then a 3rd into wetland. So really working on that round goal of eggs in wetland. Let's see if red does the same. No, they're going to play another grassland bird. It's the burrowing owl, the star nest bird. It's really nice for round 3 and 4, being a star nest bird, all nest types. Over to blue, they're going to lay 3 eggs, and will they activate the hummingbird? Do they want food for everyone? And they say yes. So when you activate the hummingbird, you choose who will be the first player to take the food from the bird feeder. And in this instance, they choose us, and so we decide to take the rat. Red follows by taking a seed, and then blue gets the reroll. Maybe they wanted something else, and in fact, they wanted a worm. Back to us. Now we decide it's time to play out that purple gallinule. Surprise, now I have 8 eggs capacity in my wetland, which is rivaling blue. And so it looks like there might be a possible tie here with 8 eggs each and a decent grassland action. And now we're up to 2 turns left for each player. Red's going to lay eggs, and so they get the eggs in the wetland. They miss with their burrowing owl, which is really looking for a rat to roll in the dice outside the bird feeder. But it's only 1 in 6 chance, so no surprise that they miss. And blue plays Barrow's Golden Eye, which is even more egg capacity in their wetland. But there's only 1 turn left, so that probably won't help. But it's really starting that process of getting free eggs whenever an opponent takes the lay eggs action. Back to us, presumably contesting this round goal, and we are, eggs in wetland. So we lay up another 2 and another 1 in the wetland. Red's going to lay eggs as well. So they're quite enjoying their grassland activation here of, low chance of getting a point and an extra egg. And final turn for blue, they will lay 3 eggs and they'll activate their hummingbird. So worms go out and then a seed for the blue player. And so really interesting, right now blue is only sitting at 6 eggs in their wetland. So we're able to actually shoot ahead to get up to 8. And anytime you get an easy win on the round goal like that, definitely take it. So it's going to be 8 in the wetland to blue's 7, which is going to be a 5-point reward for us, 2 points for blue, and only 1 point for red. Which brings us to round 3. Now the round 3 goal is birds with eggs in ground nests. And right now blue's taking the first turn. Looking at the tray, we've got another hummingbird, not very interesting bird there, but American woodcock is another ground nest bird. And we'll do a quick check of how many ground nest birds everyone has. So we are sitting at 2 here with the black skimmer spotted sandpiper. Red has got grasshopper sparrow, burrowing owl, Forster's tern, so they're at 3. And blue has the condor and the mallard and the kingfisher, so they're also at 3. Blue's going to start by drawing cards because they're not happy with the choice of 6 they had. They'll take American woodcock from the wetland and another from the deck. So now it's over to us. Tray's not looking very interesting, but we definitely need some more birds with only 1 in hand. We kick off with drawing some not very useful birds, way too late for pied-billed grebe. We choose to draw another with an egg conversion. And nice American robin, it's got a good tucking ability for the grassland. And now, interesting that we have 2 birds that can allow all players to draw a bird from the deck. And let's see if Soaked in Bleach thinks it's valuable here. And so they will give a card to everyone. And for the second bird, they'll do it again. Oh, and that's a Sprague's Pipit. That's quite nice. And a bit of luck there. A fish manages to cash onto the black skimmer. So that's now up to 2 points on the black skimmer. It's very nice that we drew up the Sprague's Pipit. It's a ground nest bird for this current round goal. And just really another bird to fill out that grassland. As a kind of the default strategy in this base game Wingspan is to kind of start off with 2 birds in the forest and the wetland so that those actions are decent. But then you're really trying to fill out your grassland with some good brown powers so that you can get a lot of points activating this towards the end of the game. Okay, back to Red's turn here. So they choose to draw some birds as well. They're up to 7 now. And they hunt on the harrier. Forster's turn will draw another bird from the deck. And they discard a willet, which is actually a ground nest bird. Interesting discard. But yeah, kind of low point for this point of the game. Blue's gonna lay some eggs using their grassland, and back to their hummingbird. Again, they have a pretty weak forest ability. Really, they can just turn one of their 11 cards into another food. So it'd be a two food activation, but no other abilities. So kind of weak, and I can see why they're focusing on their grassland here. And so activating their hummingbird, they re-roll and take the cherry, which leaves us to take a seed and a worm for red. Over back to our turn, and we want to play a bird, the American robin. So I really like that choice because it's got a pretty good ability, really just giving you a point whenever you tuck and draw, improving card quality as well. And there is definitely enough time left in the game to make good use of that ability. Red's going to overpay for Swainson's Hawk here. So over in the bottom right, you can see they paid 3 worms for it. So probably a bit of bad luck not finding a rat in the bird feeder with all the hummingbird rerolls. But they're really filling out a nice grassland engine as well with this Swainson's Hawk, hitting a 75 centimeter bird or less about 70% of the time. Blue's going to play a bird, the northern mockingbird, and where's it going? Into the grassland. So they are also, following the typical strategy of grassland engine, but they've got grassland laying eggs, and now they can get 2 food for everyone. So for us, we decide to pop out that Sprague's Pipit and have a look at what bonus cards we can get our hands on. And so the choices are Enclosure Builder, birds with ground nests. We're currently at 3, so we would need 1 more to get that 4th, but we don't have any in hand, so that's no points right now. Bird counter is 2 points right now because we have that one tucking bird, the American robin. And so let's see what Soaked in Bleach decides to keep. And they go with the guaranteed points of the bird counter, knowing that it's not great odds of finding another ground nest bird here. Red's gonna draw up some food, and here they decide to take a rat and a worm. And blue is going to lay some more eggs and get some more food, presumably. So again, hummingbird lets them take a worm, we'll take a fish, and the red takes the cherry. And do they choose to do it again? Of course they do. So they'll re-roll it up and grab a seed. Worm for us, and a fish for red. So really a lot of food going out left, right, and center with these double hummingbird abilities. For us, we're going to lay some eggs here. We're heading towards the end of round 3. And so, yeah, starting to think about maybe getting some points with the grassland. Tucking away a bird we don't want and getting black-crowned night heron. Quite a point bomb. And pretty funny that we have the perfect food for it with worm, fish, and rat already in hand. And it would be the 5th bird for photographer because it's got the color black. So useful if we're able to get up to that 6th bird, getting 6 points for photographer. Back to red, who's going to play Chimney Swift, a star nest bird that can migrate. Looks like they're really interested in contesting hard for the round 3 and 4 goal. And currently you can see all 3 players are sitting on 3 for this round goal of ground nest birds with eggs. That's going to feed a fish over to blue with their belted kingfisher. And blue decides to play one of their 10 birds from hand. It's the Dickycell, a tuck lay bird. So really perfect timing in terms of converting those excess cards in their hand into into eggs and points. For us, we're going to lay eggs again, just really getting out those points with 3 eggs, tuck, and an extra egg. So 5-point engine there in the grassland. Tucking away useless pipe build grebe and getting Woodstock. Pretty nice wetland point bomb with really good food cost for bonus cards. And back to red. Red's going to play Inkadove. Interesting that it's a platform nests egg layer. So let's see how many eggs. Whoa, they get 6 eggs in their tableau, which is really good value for the Inca Dove. And so they're going to be pretty happy with that. And it's just popped eggs onto all of these star nest birds too, like the chimney swift, the Forster's tern. So it puts them right ahead for the round goal. Final turn of round 3. Let's see what blue can do here. They're going to lay eggs. They're going to use the decusel to tuck a card and lay an egg, which puts them also into 4, tying up with red for the round goal. And once again, using those hummingbird abilities, giving food to everyone. So we grab a 3rd worm here now. And again, another worm for us. Final turn of round 3. We'll play the big point bomb, Black Crown Night Heron, into the wetland. 9 points for 3 food. Feeding another fish to blue. And red is going to say, I've got another point bomb of my own. And they play the Great Horned Owl. A spicy overpay with the rat, fish, but really with blue spamming the hummingbirds. Sometimes you don't quite get the food that you want. And that's going to close out round 3 with red and blue tying 1st and 2nd, taking 4 points each, and us in rank 3 getting 2 points. Which brings us to the final round, round 4, and the goal is birds with eggs in cavity nests. So a quick check of the points. We're currently 4 points in the lead ahead of red, and then blue is trailing by a bit there. And we've already met our photographer goal. If we play another one, like the sapsucker in hand, we would get up to 6 points instead of 3. And ecologist, I'm sure Soaked in Bleach is very keen to play another forest bird to get that 3rd column and another 2 points. Looking at the warbler probably, costing 2 worms from hand. And bird counter probably won't be able to play another one for that. But let's see how this final round plays out. And a quick check of the round goal, birds with eggs in cavity nests. We only have 1, the woodpecker. Red's got the nuthatch, burrowing owl, Forster's tern, and chimney swift, so they have 4. Blue's got the bluebird, and the belted kingfisher, and goldeneye, so 3. So red 4, blue 3, us 1. In this situation, you know, I kind of just don't really try and contest this round goal and focus on my grassland engine. So Soaked in Bleach kicks off with some egg laying and tucking to see if there's any better options for birds. Probably not the best option playing that right now. And red's gonna kick off by drawing cards. It seems that they need some better cards in their hand. I tend to try and avoid drawing cards at the start of round 4, just because you really want to be pumping out points with your grassland or, you know, playing birds. And they don't really have food right now either, so they're not in a position to play birds anyway. And they actually discard a playable bird, the American crow. Blue's gonna spam their grassland engine, laying 4 eggs, tucking on the decusel and laying an egg on it. And they choose to repeat the decusel again. So really getting as many points as they can from this. Hummingbird activation, food goes out. But I can see a problem of Blue's tableau here. They're almost at max egg capacity, 24 out of 27. So for us, we decide it's time to play the hooded warbler. So really happy with that if I'm in their shoes. Now with 3 columns filled for the ecologist, 6 points for the bonus card. Red's going to choose to play red cocketed woodpecker. So that's a nice cavity nest bird into their forest. And they're kind of hoping to draw some nice bonus card here. Discarding platform builder. Wow, that's crazy because they actually have 6 platform nest birds. So they say, hey, I don't need 7 points. I want to go with the other bonus card. Which is pretty scary if you're looking at that. And blue's going to play a bird, much needed because they need more egg capacity. But it's going to be the purple martin. So very unfortunate that it's you know, a very low point bird, costing only 1 food. It will give them a few points with its ability. However, it'd be really nice if they were able to play this earlier. But the upside is it does help them contest red for this round goal. Back to us. And looks like we're just spamming that grassland, getting as many points as possible. Over to red, they are of the same mind, spamming their grassland. Successful hunt on hawk. Unfortunate miss there with the rat hunter. And, keeping an eye on the score, looks like we're doing quite well here, a bit ahead of red and blue. Blue's going to play a northern flicker, seeking worms, but they're very sad, they completely whiff. No worms in the bird feeder for them. Maybe they were really hoping for some worms to play another bird. But actually, maybe they just needed it to get some more egg capacity. I'm not sure. Oh, one possible reason for playing the flicker here would be to really try and win this round goal, overtake red. Back to us. More grassland laying shenanigans. Egg spam. With a tuck and another lay, bringing us to 23 out of 28. Which looks pretty good. And that one we chose to turn a fish into an egg. Red 2 is going to lay 4 eggs. They don't have any food to turn into an extra egg. They'll succeed hunt. Second last turn for blue. And some big egg spam going here as well. A tuck on the marten for an extra point. A tuck lay on the Dickercell for an extra 2 points. And they're going to repeat the Dickercell for another 2. So you can see they've suddenly shot up in points here, getting very close to red's points. With a very powerful engine they've got running there. Final turn of the game. Final turn cycle of the game. And of course we're going to lay eggs again. And we've run out of food. We could have turned that worm into a food, I guess, but we don't need to because Chipping Sparrow is going to fill out our complete final spot, which is such a satisfying feeling. 28 out of 28, pretty much max efficiency, filling out all the egg spots, except, one could have been this worm. So near perfect efficiency there. Well played by Soaked in Bleach. And red's going to keep spamming their grassland as well. And they're very happy that they finally get a cash on the Burrowing Owl. 1 point finding this rat, finally for them. Seems like the Burrowing Owl hasn't been doing a very good job this game. Blue's final turn. Is it going to be more egg laying? No, it's not. Oh, they're going to close out with a surprise wild turkey. 7-point play there for them. And so it turns out red and blue tied up for 5 points each for the round goal. And moving on to final scoring, we got our 6 points for ecologists, 3 points for photographer, just 1 shy of the max, and 2 points for bird counter, 11 points for 3 bonus cards, not bad, 12 points for round goals, 28 for eggs, 2 food, and 6 tucks for a grand total of 103 for Soaked in Bleach. A very good score, bolstered by the free food of the hummingbirds. And red has 8 points in the Prairie Manager and 8 points in the Rodentologist. Very impressive. Super high bonus cards there. And that's going to bring them so close, 101. They're just 2 points shy of Soaked in Bleach. A valiant effort. Blue has got Nest Box Builder for cavity birds, so 4 points. And then 7 points for Viticulturalist. They've maxed that one out. Perfect timing on the wild turkey at the end. They actually used all their food for it, which is crazy. And they end with 94. And so a few points shy, they definitely had a couple of things not go their way that game. But that's going to be a great victory for Soaked in Bleach in a really close game. And some really great decisions made all throughout. Really well played by all 3 players. I mean, a very simple takeaway for me from this game is really to consider keeping 4 cards in the starting hand. Something that I've pretty much never do. I've played quite a few games of Wingspan. Can't remember the last time I kept 4 or more birds in my hand. But looking at why they did it, they were very happy to have 2 forest birds and 2 wetland birds in their hand, none of them costing 3 food, and even some of them being quite good abilities. Yeah, they were really just able to quite quickly get these 4 birds out. By the end of round 1, in fact, they had all 4 out from their starting hand. There's one more really interesting moment in the game that I wanted to analyze, and it's right here at the start of round 2. So basically red and blue started round 2 by drawing birds from the deck and the display, and then for Soaked in Bleach's first turn of round 2, they also decided to draw up birds because they have no birds in hand, makes sense. But what I want to focus on is a really interesting choice they made, which is not what I would have done. In general, at this point, if I'm in their shoes, I'm looking to draw up some good grassland birds. Ideally, I want to find a grassland bird with a decent brown ability that can score some points. So on their turn, they can draw 2 birds from the deck or display, and then they can use the Spotted Sandpiper to let all players draw 1 card from the deck. So if you're Soaked in Bleach in this position, where do you draw from? Are you interested in any of the birds in the display? If I was in their shoes, I would start by drawing 1 card from the deck, and then the second would be the purple gallinule. So let's again see what decisions they made here. So they decided to draw the purple gallinule first, followed by the hooded warbler. As I just mentioned, if I was them, I'd really be keen to find a grassland bird, especially a decent one. But they actually decided to prioritize hooded warbler. All things considered, it's a pretty strong bird, providing really great value for just the 2 worms. Blue just drew a hummingbird from the tray. They would only draw it because they're interested in playing it and potentially using its ability. Looking at Blue's tableau, you can see that their forest row is currently really miserable. They don't have any brown powers in it. Based on all that, you can infer that you will be getting some free food during the course of the game. Therefore, you don't need to take the forest action as much to gain food. So you can conclude that the hooded warbler might be a really good choice for this game because it's a great value point bomb that you can just dump in the forest as the 3rd bird, seeking to fill out 3 columns for ecologist, which they indeed do. Obviously hindsight is 20/20, but looking at how the game pans out from here, I can see that the hooded warbler was a pretty valuable bird for Soaked in Bleach. Of course, they still need to draw some grassland birds and hopefully some decent ones, but because both Spotted Sandpiper and Purple Gallinule let them look at extra cards, and since Blue is already flooded with cards, I think they'd feel fine to dig a bit further if needed. Anyway, like I said, Soaked in Bleach is a way better player than me, and I do think they made the right call here. But what about you? What do you think? Would you do something differently here? Thanks so much for watching to the end. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Click one of the videos on screen for more Wingspan and board games content. Until next time, may you get the most victory points.